You know, there's a part of me that's going to be very sad when all of Donald Trump's legal problems, his trials and all of that are over with. Because once that happens, I'm not going to have any more stories to talk about how stupid Donald Trump's legal team is. But as it stands, his legal problems are not over, so of course we have plenty of stories about how stupid and incompetent his legal team truly is. On September 15th, Donald Trump's lawyers filed a 25-page filing with Judge Tanya Chut Ken, telling her that she cannot give in to the government's request for a limited gag order on Donald Trump because that's exactly what President Biden wants to happen. That's right, folks. Donald Trump's lawyers, in a 25-page court filing, actually told the judge that President Biden is the one who wants this gag order against Donald Trump because Trump is just decimating Biden in the polls. That, I don't need to tell you, is not a legal argument. That is not a legal defense for your client. It's something Donald Trump would post on Truth Social because Donald Trump has suggested that on Truth Social. But it's not something that any lawyer that is competent or good at their job would ever even put in a court filing. But they did. Let me read you this. This is bonkers. Like, this is such a dumb argument that it's tough to even get through it. So bear with me if I burst out laughing here. Following these efforts to poison President Trump's defense, the prosecution now asks the court to take the extraordinary step of stripping President Trump of his First Amendment freedoms during the most important months of his campaign against President Biden. The court should reject this transparent gamesmanship and deny the motion entirely. The proposed gag order is nothing more than an obvious attempt by the Biden administration to unlawfully silence its most prominent political opponent, who has now taken a commanding lead in the polls. None of that, not a single word of it, is an actual legal argument rebutting anything that Jack Smith filed in his request for the gag order. Now, just because his lawyers decided to turn this into a campaign speech rather than an actual legal filing, it doesn't mean that Judge Chut Ken is going to look at it and be like, you guys are idiots, I'm going to side with them and put the gag order in place. She understands the dangers that come along with that gag order. Obviously, there have been threats against Judge Chut Ken. There's been threats against Jack Smith and the other prosecutors. So if she does that, she knows that she is putting the big giant target on all of these individuals, including herself. So it comes with an inherent risk. But she also knows that as a judge, she really cannot take that into consideration because, as weird as it may seem to say that, none of that has any bearing on the law itself, right? And when you have a defendant like Donald Trump, who is routinely going out there, and as Jack Smith pointed out in his request for the gag order, potentially poisoning the jury pool by spreading fake and false information about the judge and the prosecutors, you can only rule with the law. You can't rule on, well, if I do this, they may come after me. That cannot play a role in the decision. If we're basing this solely on legal decisions, if we're basing it solely on the argument put forward by Jack Smith versus Donald Trump's lawyers lose. Because again, there is no legal argument here. They turned it into a campaign speech. They're like, hey, judge, I know you want to shut this guy up, but have you seen his polls? I mean, come on. These people are idiots. I mean, I can say that, from the bottom of my heart. I genuinely believe these are some of the dumbest lawyers we've ever seen in America. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean that that's what Judge Chut Ken's going to do. It is what she should do. But we'll have to wait and see when she finally issues a decision about this gag order. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.